Impact segment tonight, testimony today in front of the House Intelligence Committee by FBI Director Robert Mueller and Director of National Intelligence James Clapper. Apparently, Mr. Clapper sees the Muslim Brotherhood in a far different way than Mr. Mueller.
The term Muslim Brotherhood is an umbrella term for a variety of movements. In the case of Egypt, a very heterogeneous group, largely secular, which has eschewed violence and has decried al-Qaeda as a perversion of Islam.
Obviously, elements of the Muslim Brotherhood here and overseas have supported terrorism.
Right.
To the extent that I can provide more information, I'd be happy to do so in closed session, but
all right. I would appreciate
it would be
that.
difficult to do it in open session.
Wow. Joining us now from Detroit, Osama Sablani, publisher of the Arab American News. And from Orlando, Florida, Imam Mohammed Musri, president of the Islamic Society of Central Florida. So, Imam, I see the Muslim Brotherhood as sympathetic to the jihad. Am I wrong?
Well, some sects are, but not the ones in Egypt, as far as I know.
All right, but they all live under the same code, and the code is that jihad, let me read the code so everybody knows what I'm talking about. God is our objective. The Quran is our law. The Prophet is our leader. Jihad is our way. And death for the sake of Allah is the highest of our aspirations. So, Imam, are you telling me that the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, jihad is our way, does not apply? They take that out?
They have renounced that many years ago, probably 3 decades ago, and they have chosen to participate in the political process and to go through the parliament, and they are different from other parts of the world where that's still true.
All right. Do you see it the same way, Mr. Sablani?
No, I don't. I see that the Muslim Brotherhood are part of the Egyptian society, and exactly like the Baptist Church and the other churches in the United States are. Now, I know that there is a separation of church and state in here, not in Egypt, but apparently, they have an influence here on national politics. You have to remember, Bill, that churches are points of influence for presidential election and congressional election.
But
and
there's a difference
Egypt,
between there's a difference between lobbying against abortion and things like that, and that certainly happens here. But then saying jihad is our way. My question is, do you believe, sir, that the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt embraces jihad as our way? Do you believe that?
I have not seen that from them, Bill. All what I have seen in the last probably 3 or 4 decades is a participation in the process in Egypt when they were permitted. Remember, in the last parliamentary election, they had like 80 seats. So far, the Muslim Brotherhood has not done any terrorist acts in Egypt.
So you both say that this is a legitimate political movement. Now, Imam,
absolutely.
In an interview in Al Jazeera, okay, one of the spokesmen for the Brotherhood said, quote, "The people of Egypt should be prepared for war against Israel." I mean, that's pretty frightening, is it not, Imam?
That's frightening. If that is their stand, that is something to worry about. But I believe that from various reports I read, that their influence has shrunk over the years, and they are not appealing to the masses. The majority of Egyptians are not buying their message, and they do not really speak for the people of Egypt.
Let's hope. Mr. Sablani, are you nervous that and another quote from the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, all right, Israel has shed the blood of the Palestinians for more than 60 years, and we should cut off the flow of gas from Egypt to Israel. I mean, this is provocative stuff coming from these people.
Well, these are views of certain people in the Muslim Brotherhood. We're not going to defend these views. At this time, Bill, I think we should focus on the 3 million people as we speak gathering in the Tahrir Square. Those are from across the section of the Egyptian society, the rich, the poor, and the in between, the educated and the none. And those are the people that we should be really
okay, but
addressing.
I agree with you 100%, and I'm not branding all the protesters Muslim Brotherhood, but you both know what happened in Iran, that you had these secular demonstrations, and then all of a sudden, the Ayatollah Khomeini took over because he had more guns than everybody else.
I'm sorry, Bill, but this is completely different. Very, very different. It's very different what's happening in Iran. In Iran, we had a leader called Khomeini. He was moving and shaking the people in Iran. Today we have students and youth in Iran from across section of the Egyptian society. They are leading this demonstration and this revolution, and therefore we have today pay attention to them. But I wanted to say something. 5 years ago, I told you on your program, I said that I'm ashamed of all Arab leaders, or most of the Arab leaders. Today, I can tell you I am very proud of the Egyptian people and the Arab people in Tunisia and in Egypt. And I hope this revolution will spread across the Middle East. Democracy, freedom,
We all
and respect
hope it
for human
does.
rights
We all
is
hope
the
it
answer.
spreads and democracy is instituted, but I'm not sure about that.
And
Now,
let
Imam,
us not be afraid of it.
well, you got to be afraid when you have radical elements. I'll give the Imam Musri the last word.
Not in democracy, not in democracy,
Yeah, but it
my
doesn't.
dear friend.
Look, Mrs. Ablani, we don't know who's going to seize power there. We don't know who's going to rule. It's
Whoever
still-
sees power democratically, we should work with
Okay,
them.
but we don't know.
Bill,
All right, Musri,
Bill, I
Imam,
think
go
what
ahead.
we need to remember that the Egyptian military is really in charge, has been in charge for the last 60 years, and the Egyptian military has strong ties with the U.S. military and will not allow
That scares me.
the Muslim Brotherhood to rise to
I
power
hope you're
or
right.
take over government.
I agree. The Egyptian military is the card that can keep Egypt at least from developing into chaos. Gentlemen, very
I think
interesting.
we should keep the
I
military
gotta
in
run.
uniform, Bill.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks very
we don't-
much.
I don't support the Muslim Brotherhood, but I believe the Egyptian military will keep things
Let's hope.
as they are.
Let's hope.